In a Fox 23 exclusive, we're hearing from the owner of the Iraq-based company that bought Expo Square's historic Skyride. We told you last week contractors working to remove the ride for that company abruptly stopped all the work.
As Fox 23's Spencer Humphrey tells us, that demolition is now on hold indefinitely.
The ride's cables now strewn about here in the parking lot at Expo Square haven't been touched for days. It's a sign that the ride's future may once again be up in the air. It's been a year since I uncovered Expo Square had been quietly planning to tear down its historic Skyride. I reported the public trust governed by Tulsa County spent hundreds of thousands of public dollars in upgrades on the ride in recent years, and even looked into using pandemic recovery funds to tear it down. All the while, Garo Taglion was watching from Iraq.
From that time, I started sending them emails, calling them.
Selling amusement park rides is his family business. He tells me he saw potential in the ride and figured if Expo Square was just going to tear it down, why not ask them if he could give it a second life overseas?
First, they told me, yeah, we don't want to sell it. Before, they told us they want to find someone who want to operate the Sky Glider in Tulsa.
He says that was about 5 months ago. Now, I reported back in October the ride's former operator told me at that time he'd be willing to operate it again under a more favorable agreement. In November, Expo Square put out a request for proposals to find the ride a new operator or a buyer. But you'll remember I told you it required any potential new operator to share Expo Square a much higher percentage of the ride's revenue than any other previous operator. With that, Taglion was the only person to bid on the ride. He finalized a deal to buy the ride and hired a contractor to begin dismantling the ride last month. He says they worked for 10 days, then gave him an ultimatum after finding the ride more difficult to dismantle than anticipated.
They said you have to pay 86%.
This is one of the ride's 5 towers. You can see the cable has been taken down, and the base of it here has been severely jackhammered away to the point rebar is showing. I asked Expo Square if this thing is still structurally sound. Expo Square didn't get back to me on that question, but its COO told me it's always been up to GT Amusement to hire the contractors, and they expect work to resume on the demolition soon. Taglion says he's found a new contractor from the UK who can finish the job, but they're running into delays getting insurance approved. On top of that, he'd promised Expo Square he'd have the ride gone by the end of May. He says Expo Square would have to grant him an extension to continue his work into June. But if they don't, what may happen to the ride is anyone's guess.
I am worried. Really, to be honest, I'm worried. But what can I do? I did the impossible for that.
In Tulsa, covering news that matters, Spencer Humphrey, Fox 23 News.